Hi guys, welcome back. So let's do selection for Wales versus Scotland. Things could change with injury throughout the week, but as it is, these are the teams I'm going to pick, and Wales need a shake-up. The biggest problem versus Ireland, yes, technically they got stuff wrong and they were disjointed in attack, but the effort wasn't there, and you don't often say that for Wales. In the last 10 minutes it came back. For the majority of the game though, they were very passive in defence and attack, lacking passion, dare I say, and indeed Dan Biggar summed it up. He was heard in the game saying, "Where's the blooming urgency?" He must be absolutely furious. There's going to be an absolute rocket, I think, from the coaches and from Biggar in the team room when they come out versus Scotland at home. I just want to see fire and passion. If they get stuff wrong, I don't care. They need to get up there, make their tackle, big tackles in defence, and don't give Scotland time to play like they gave Ireland time to play, because we can see what Scotland can do with their backline. Wales have got to get up into their face and make things hard. So yes, there need to be changes, just to make a point as well that that's not good enough, and also technically. Front row, I think the props, didn't have the greatest game, but they did scrummage well, so I think that would be silly to throw that away, so I'd keep those props, Jones and Francis. But I would make the change at hooker. Not that Lake had a stellar game when he came on, but Wales need gain line. They need big ball carriers. Lake could be that man. Give him a go. I don't think there's anything to lose at this stage. Get him in there and Elias can drop to the bench. Elias is an okay player, but I don't think there's any particular reason why he has to stay as a starter. I think Rowland's really struggled against Ireland, ineffective in the carry defence. He worked hard, but I think give Carter a go. Get him in there. Beard probably needs to stay for his work in the line out and the maul, even though, again, didn't have the best game. At 6, I think a fairly straightforward call. Jenkins was really chasing shadows versus Ireland. I did mention in the autumn he looked a fair bit slower than Basham, and he was struggling to get to those breakdowns and affect them, and he's not a big guy anyway, so he's not going to be making massive carries, so he struggled a bit. So I think he drops to the bench, although Schuinza maybe is close to coming into the bench potentially. But I'd get Moriarty in at 6. Big tackles, big carries, makes sense, experience, fire, passion, get him in there. Basham stays at 7, who was the one big positive versus Ireland for sure. Power, pace, really in people's faces like him. Wainwright, I think, drops out. Had a bit of a shocker versus Ireland. And Wales need gain line. They need big carriers. Take a chance on Ratty. Get him in there and just keep it simple. Say, carry the ball, carry the ball, carry the ball. Get over the gain line. Then hopefully give Wales a chance to actually attack on the front foot. Halfbacks. Thomas Williams and Biggar. Yeah, they didn't have the best game behind a pack that wasn't doing a lot, but I don't think you're going to get any better, so I think retain them. Biggar obviously is the captain. He'll be hurting, desperate for a big performance. So same halfbacks. Centres, well, Adams had a torrid time. He tries hard, but he definitely tried too hard versus Ireland. So get him back on the wing in his comfort zone, calm him down a little bit. Then bring in a specialist centre. I'd say probably Halaholo if he's fit, who has a good bit of footwork, might be able to make a gap. Tompkins was probably their best back versus Ireland, but pair him up with Halaholo maybe, see what can happen. Liam Williams, I think, stays at 15. Didn't have his best game again, but I don't see any particular reason or benefit of dropping him. Zamet, technically pretty poor, made a lot of mistakes. He's quick, but he needs to tidy up his game. But again, I don't see much sense bringing anyone else in. Although Lane maybe might be a call up to the squad. I don't think he's even in the squad, is he? But maybe Lane might be pushing there. Elias, Thomas, Lewis on the bench, Seb Davis on the bench, Jenkins, like I mentioned, Gareth Davis. When Sheedy came on, tried to make an impact. Wales were going backwards again in an attack. Do they try another fly half? Yeah, maybe. Try Anscombe, he's a good player. And Watkin there rounding out the bench. So McNichol also dropping out. Just a question mark as well I know he's not in the squad. I know he's not playing in Wales, but should Wales maybe have a look at Lloyd Evans of Gloucester? I think he's pretty impressive. As a fly half, maybe a distributing 12. Maybe they need something else in attack. Because a lot of the times in attack, when they were going nowhere, they were doing the old schoolboy sort of thing of shoveling the rubbish, if you like, and just making things worse when they were going nowhere. Anyway, guys, what would you do with your Welsh team? And finally on to Scotland. Massive win versus England. They'll be on the up. Some huge performances, particularly in the backs, on the wings. Matt Fagerson, I thought was really good. But it wasn't perfect. They did struggle against the English pack at times as well. And I think Johnson at 12, hardly affected the game at all. So I think you can make a few changes. I think they can be even better. So there's my team. I think Skoman I would bring into the loose head. Sutherland looked a bit rusty and quiet, so I didn't see a problem in changing that one up. Turner was decent. Fagerson I thought was okay. Second rows, yeah, fine. Don't really see any reason to change them. At 6, I think Bradbury comes in for the injured Ritchie. Looks like Ritchie's going to be out. He's a big lad, needs another chance, in good form, so bring him in. Watson, he was pretty quiet to be honest, so I'm expecting him to be a bit better versus Wales. Fagerson carried really well, so him and Bradbury in the back row, a few bigger carriers, big showman there as well at loose head, so a little bit more bulk in the pack. Price and Russell were class versus England, so they stay, particularly Russell, some absolute genius touches. As long as they make sure he doesn't make the decisions on penalties, let him roll. In the centres, like I actually picked before the Scottish game, I wouldn't have had Jones. I would have had Hutchinson. I think he's an absolute genius as a runner. You could go Redpath as a distributor, but I have him on the bench. Hutchinson starting with Harris. Harris, who defended well versus England, but I think you need a little bit more in attack and a bit more gain line from your centres, so I bring in Hutchinson. Back 3 obviously stay. Van der Merwe was lethal. Graham, the best I've seen him for Scotland. Some magic touches, especially someone who can create something from nothing is gold dust. And Hogg I thought was excellent. Good leadership, good morale. The team is definitely behind him. Then on the bench, bring Darge in. I want to see what he can do. That'll be exciting. White and Kinghorn staying there as the half-back replacements, and Redpath as a utility back alongside Kinghorn covering all those outside backs. So let me know what you would do with the Scotland team, how you see this game going. Sure, Wales played very poorly versus Ireland, but they simply can't be that poor again just because of the effort they're surely going to put in at home, even if technically, sure, maybe they will or will not make the changes. On that pure fire and passion, I see them to be a lot better next week. Scotland just got to follow up now. That's been Scotland's issue. They've had great performances, but they haven't followed up with a win. If they do win, they're right in there. If Wales go 2 losses, then they're definitely out of it. So let me know how you think all these teams are going to do, all the selections you would make, and I'll catch you next time.